So far this season, Victor Lindelof has been pretty horrendous at the back for Manchester United, making several errors leading to goal. At the same time, Harry Maguire, when he gets given a chance, which to be fair is quite rare, he's actually playing really well so far this season. Leading to the question, is it time that Harry Maguire comes into the side in place of Victor Lindelof? Now, of course, we're not talking about when Ten Hag has a fully fit squad. Of course, Lisandro Martinez is first choice. But in the short term, Manchester United need to find a centre-back to partner Raphael Varane. Today I want to talk about who is going to be the better option. Now, I know some people, I say some, a lot of people like to clown Harry Maguire and, everyone laughs at him and trolls him and says he's not good enough. I still believe there's a very good centre-back in there. Today, before you jump on me on that one, today I'm going to show you the numbers behind it. And we're going to start off with some stats from Data MB. A link will be in the description down below if you want to go use the website yourself. But here we have a player from last season and a player so far this season, looking at Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire. This is their percentile ranking. Now, if you look at the yellow graph we've got here, that is Victor Lindelof so far this season. And truthfully, what it is absolutely horrendous. Progressive passes, we can see that he's such a low rank that he's barely even got any shape to his graph in that section. The duel percentage, horrendous. Aerial percentage is alright, to be fair. Carrying percentage, percentile, almost non-existent. Now if we look at the blue, that's actually Harry Maguire from last season, where we can see that his duel percentage is way better, as is his carrying and as are his progressive passes, and his passes in general. So straight away, this is really alarming. Now, the Maguire kind of section of this, the blue section, is pretty good. It's not elite level, but it's pretty solid. The Lindelof one for this season so far, the yellow, is genuinely really concerning. These don't even look like the numbers of a defender. For the carrying, the progressive passes, but also the duel percentage to be that low, it's genuinely terrifying thinking about it. So, it's not a great start, but of course we can't just look at players based on stats. It's of course a great way to gauge a player, but it's not all you can look at. We also need to look at their profile as well, so let's quickly do that. So we'll start off with the more defensive side of things, as you like, because these are of course centre-backs. And I think from a defensive point of view, they both have major weaknesses. I don't think either of them are elite from a defensive point of view. I think they both have their strengths here and there, but I also think they both have their weaknesses. So this isn't an ideal situation. But when we actually compare the two sort of head to head, I still think Maguire, when he's at his best, is a level ahead of Victor Lindelof. In terms of his strength, he is miles better than Lindelof. In terms of his aerial ability, it's night and day the difference. Maguire is one of the best aerial defenders in the world. As a result of that, his box defence is also much better than Victor Lindelof's. When you're defending these deep areas and the balls are coming in from out wide, who do you want heading it away? Harry Maguire or Victor Lindelof? It's not really a debate. It has to be Harry Maguire. Now, of course, there are areas where Victor Lindelof excels. Victor Lindelof is much more agile and is much better on the turn. So when someone is dribbling at him 1 versus 1, Harry Maguire is not very good in those situations. He gets turned quite easily. You see him off balance, kind of stumbling about a little bit. With Victor Lindelof, you don't get that so much because his footwork is much better. He's much better on the turn, making him better in 1 versus 1 situations. He's also that little bit quicker than Harry Maguire as well, which means when you're playing a high line and squeezing high up the pitch, Victor Lindelof is better at covering the space behind, although he's still not elite in that way. He is also decent defending out wide. Again, that's because of more of a mobility thing. He is again more mobile than Harry Maguire. But overall, I think Harry Maguire is the better defender. Now, importantly, I will add on their day, on their best day. And of course, Harry Maguire's best days have been few and far between over the past couple of seasons. And his confidence has been massively hit. But that's why I think Erik ten Hag has such an opportunity here. He played well in that cup game against Crystal Palace the other week. He played really well against Brentford the other day. If he can now go have a positive international break with England, this is a chance to get his confidence up and get back to that defender which we saw in 2020-2021, which was genuinely a very good player. So a combination of those things lead me to believe that Harry Maguire is the better player from a defensive point of view when he is at his best. It's his size, his ability in duels, his aerial ability, his box defence makes him slightly better. Of course, Victor Lindelof is more suited to a high line, but his weakness in the box is too big a problem for me. However, again, neither of them are perfect. So let's look at more of a possession point of view, because Maguire's edging the defensive side of it without there really being a standout. For me, that changes when we go to in possession, because suddenly we see more of a standout between the two. And it's something that I've been complaining about recently. This is Victor Lindelof's recent pass map against Crystal Palace in the Premier League, that 1-0 loss. Look how sideways these passes are. So of course the blue passes are completed passes, the red ones are failed passes. Look how sideways he is playing. Yes, he's got 44 out of 46 passes, which looks pretty good. It's a good number to have. It's good ball retention. But at times, when you're playing low blocks, which United often do, you need to move the ball forward through the line. Victor Lindelof doesn't do it, whereas Harry Maguire does. Now, yes, there's a few more failed passes in here, which is a little bit disappointing. We would like to see that kind of removed from Harry Maguire's game. But suddenly look how much more direct, how much more forward these passes are. But also, look at these passes which are going across the pitch. Again, if we go back to Lindelof's, there's almost no passes where he's getting it from one area and then switching it to the other side. Whereas Harry Maguire is doing that. And from a tactical point of view, that is absolutely vital. Because when you're playing up against a low block, which again, United often face, let's just get this other team really deep. What teams often do is they go deep, they go narrow, and they go compact, making it really difficult to break them down. However, one effective way of breaking down a low block is to play with a lot of width, because naturally, you stretch the pitch, which gives the opposition bigger spaces, basically, that they've got to cover. So let's say when United are in possession and pushing a little bit higher up the pitch and trying to break a team down, when you've got Victor Lindelof, you've got a player who does this. Which, you know, it's okay for managing tempo and you need it to an extent, and at times you definitely need that. But also, you have to find ways to play forward, because whilst Lindelof is doing all this sideways passing, again, as we saw in that pass map earlier, it's literally what he's doing. When he's doing all of that, it's barely moving the opposition. Whereas, when we bring Harry Maguire into the side, suddenly he's much more progressive with his passing, getting the ball into someone like Mason Mount. This moves the opposition about. But also, he switches the play brilliantly. And I actually think he's one of the best long-passing centre-backs in the world. That's something which I've always said about his game. You can go back through the history of the channel. It's something I've always said. He is brilliant at getting the ball out wide. And that is such an important weapon to have. When you don't get the ball out wide, the opposition go compact and they leave no space in the middle of the pitch to play through. When you start moving the ball wide with long switches, suddenly gaps start opening up in the opposition back line. And this is the big area where, for me, Harry Maguire just takes a clear step ahead of everything which Victor Lindelof does. Now, of course, once again, Harry Maguire isn't perfect in the way that he plays on the ball, and again, there are areas where Victor Lindelof is a little bit better. For example, Victor Lindelof is more press resistant, so when the opposition push high and put players under pressure, Victor Lindelof is once again better at doing this than what Harry Maguire is. We know that Maguire can be a little bit clunky, a little bit slow, and Lindelof definitely has an advantage in this area. He is the better player in this sense, again because he's more mobile, he's more agile, he can twist and turn. So again, I'm not saying either of these players are perfect. What we're looking for is kind of a short-term fix to the problem that United have. Lisandro Martinez is out for the foreseeable future. United need to find the best solution. I just feel, though, that again, in possession, there are areas where Harry Maguire takes a clear advantage. Not only is it his long passing and his ability to pass through the lines, it's also his ability to carry the ball out from the back, carry the ball through the pitch. Now, this is something which is actually massively important in any football team, but particularly for the current Manchester United side. And the reason for that is because United lack ball carriers in the side. And this is really important in the modern game, because what we see a lot of teams doing at the moment, when they're not sitting deeper, is a lot of teams will go for a man-for-man system, particularly in the midfield. So there will be someone on Casemiro, there will be someone on Mason Mount and on Bruno Fernandes, or whoever the personnel may be in these areas. Which means that when they get the ball, they've always got someone immediately on them. However, when you add a ball-carrying defender to the side like Harry Maguire, and to be fair, Varane does this well as well, when you've got Harry Maguire who wants to step forward with the ball into these areas, it suddenly asks questions of these players going man-for-man in midfield. Because of course you can't just let Maguire step all the way up the pitch and go unchallenged, because it's not how football works. You have to tackle someone. But what this does is it then frees someone up in the Manchester United midfield. Let's say this midfielder now has to come engage Harry Maguire. This means that suddenly a couple of popped passes around the corner, you free up a midfielder. Whereas again, when Victor Lindelof has the ball, he's not carrying the ball forward, which allows the opposition to stay man-for-man in midfield. So again, this is an area where Harry Maguire is better in possession, and we've got the numbers to prove it. These here are more facts and figures from that game against Brentford last weekend. Now, we do need to consider that Maguire and Lindelof were playing slightly different positions to each other, because Lindelof was playing as more of a fullback. But regardless of that, we can still see the more progressive nature of Harry Maguire. Along the bottom, we've got progression via pass, which means if a player is more to the right-hand side of this chart, which is that way for you guys, if a player is more to the right-hand side, they progress the ball more via passing. Up the side, we've then got progression via carry, which means the higher up the chart you are, the more progressive carries you produce during the 90 minutes. So basically, in terms of ball progression, you want to be in that top right section. And guess who is right up there? Harry Maguire, once again showing that he is a more progressive player. So I think in possession, it's a mismatch. Hang on, this is the complete wrong screen. I think in possession, it is a complete mismatch between these two. I think Harry Maguire is astronomically clear of what Victor Lindelof does on the ball. The bigger question comes from a defensive point of view. Now, of course, we covered that at the start of the video in terms of the two profiles. Victor Lindelof is more agile, more mobile, can defend wide areas, and probably 1-versus-1 situations a little bit better. Harry Maguire is better at defending his own penalty area. He's stronger and won't get muscled in his duels. He wins most of his battles. He's good in the air. And yeah, he's a good box defender. He's a good leader at the back in that sense. So it's a bit of a toss-up in this area. But I think there's one thing which is key from a tactical point of view when picking between the two of them. And that is their partner, Raphael Varane. Now, what do we talk about with Raphael Varane as a defender? He's a defender which doesn't want to be aggressive and front-footed. He wants to be a cover defender around the back. Now, when you pair Victor Lindelof with that, Victor Lindelof is also a covering defender. Now, this causes a problem because when you have two players at centre-back who do this, you leave someone on for the opposition able to carry the ball forward. There's so much room in front of the Manchester United defence when you play two covering centre-backs. Whereas when you add in someone like Harry Maguire, who wants to be more front-footed and aggressive, it's a more natural balance. He can go engage the ball whilst Raphael Varane covers behind him. Now again, I don't think Maguire is perfect in this sense and he can get beaten a little bit easily. But at least it actually provides a challenge on the ball for the player which has it for the opposition. Again, Lindelof backs off, Raphael Varane backs off. There's so much space in front of the defence. Whereas, you know, with Maguire, you can question the quality of it at times. At least he is aggressive and goes towards the ball. So again, from a tactical point of view, I think Harry Maguire edges it. And that is why I think he deserves a chance in this Manchester United team alongside Raphael Varane whilst Lisandro Martinez is out with injury. I think out of possession, his box defence would be absolutely crucial because, you know, the United box defence has been horrible so far this season. But I also think the fact that a little bit higher up the pitch, he will be more aggressive, kind of prevent that space in front of the defence. I think that is really, really needed. Then in possession, for me, it's a bit of a non-debate. I think he is so far clear of Victor Lindelof on the ball, whether that be progressive passing through the lines, ball carrying through the lines, all those long switches of play to really manipulate the space of the opposition defenders. I think Maguire is better in every department, and that is why, for me, he should be playing. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I know some of you will disagree because people don't like Harry Maguire, but hopefully I've given you guys a different side of the story today. But get your thoughts in the comments. Apart from that though, I think I'm finished for today's video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.